Good evening, good evening, good evening. My name is Dante Harmon. This is Dante's Harmony Podcast, and I'm so excited. Before we even get started on today, I just want to pay tribute to one of my favorite artists in the whole wide world, Michael D'Angelo Archer, 1974 to 2025. Definitely praying for his daughter, his son, his family, and all those that surrounded him, and the people that played with him, those that celebrate his life and his legacy, his music. He was definitely an icon and a trendsetter, and one that I will never ever forget. So we pay homage to D'Angelo on today. Thank you for your contribution. I'm excited on today to not only be here to talk live, to go into this podcast dealing with Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and there's so much that I could say in regards. This is oh my goodness. I may have to check with Lori and some of my other guests as to how long we've been doing this, because this is probably like the maybe year 2 or 3 that we've actually been doing these live podcasts dealing with domestic violence, and I'm excited. I'm going to just stop talking and introduce my guests, because we're about to really have an amazing conversation. You may want to call your friend, your neighbor. You want to call your cousin, them, auntie, them, everybody, because we all need to be a part of something that actually we don't talk about as much, and we kind of gloss over as unimportant until it hits your house. So today, I have 3 special guests, 3 amazing women that are with me on today, and the information that they're going to share, I just can't wait just to hear what they have to say. So let me just go ahead and introduce my first guest. My first guest is a licensed behavior therapist and a certified end-of-life doula, who's worked across the globe reminding us that pain may be inevitable, but suffering is optional. That's a shout all by itself. My first guest on today, please welcome Chana Campbell Nelson. How you doing, Chana?
Hey, Dante.
What's going on?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm excited about what we're getting ready to do and have.
Absolutely.
I think this is such a much needed conversation, and who better to have it with? I appreciate you being here. My second guest is the founder of Love Smart Inc. She's also a survivor who turned her story into a movement that teaches what healthy love should actually look like. You all help me welcome my next guest, Valerie Williams. Hey, Val.
What's up? What's up? And that's doing? Overcomer.
Say that again.
Overcomer of domestic violence.
That's
yes.
Right. That's right. Overcomer. It's so good to always have you here. We I never get enough of your testimony.
Yes.
And just to, we'll go into it as we go into the podcast, but I love, because we're always, we always have new listeners, and somebody's here for the first time, and they need to know that you are an overcomer.
Yes.
So last but not least, my last guest is a CPA, author, advocate, a trauma-informed instructor helping women and teens move beyond trauma into their truth, healing, and hope. You all put your hands together and help me welcome Lori Brinson.
Hey.
How you doing, Lori?
I'm great. I'm so glad to be here with these wonderful women. Yes.
Listen, it's amazing having three amazing women who really have stories to tell, but you all are educated. You are intelligent women. You all are authors, CEOs. You're therapists. There's so many things I could say. But this is such a powerful month, and we love to bring awareness especially on my platform, I love to bring awareness when it comes down to domestic violence. I think this is something that is needed not only in our community, it's needed within our neighborhoods, it's needed in our churches, it's needed in places that we are really not shining a light enough on this particular problem. So I want to start with this. There was a clip I saw of a preacher, pastor, Creflo Dollar, and he was animated in this particular clip, and he began to talk about marriage, and he started talking about this one couple that he started talking to, and he found out that the lady was actually being abused. And when he was talking as if he were in his office, and he said, well, the first thing we need to do is, we know you're not going home tonight, so we need to find you somewhere to stay tonight. And that was his first order of business. And then the second thing, it was really funny, but he stood up and looked at the guy. He said, now hit her again. Hit her again. At some point, we really, I'm really glad that October is something that, brings about awareness as it relates to domestic violence. But there's so much that needs to be done to make it even that much more broader. We're already in the conversation, even with that clip that I just described. Lori, you can start out. What takeaways did you come away with? I know you probably seen the clip.
Yes. Yes. It actually took me back, because his response, even though, we may be, making it comical, right, but his response, first of all, he believed her.
Right.
He didn't question her.
Right.
He didn't say, well, sister so-and-so, we got to pray about this. He didn't do none of that. And it took me back to 25 plus years ago when we went to a pastor when I was in my situation, and he looked at me and he looked at him and he looked at me and he said, well, daughter, you need to stand by your husband. Mm. So Creflo's response to, okay, you're not going back there. You need to go somewhere. You need to find somewhere else to stay. We need to find you somewhere else to stay, because you're not going back there.
Right.
Was, in my opinion, the proper response, because we need to separate these two so that either he can get his mind right or she can figure out what she needs to do. So for me, his response was spot on with, okay, we need to make sure you're safe.
Right.
We need to make sure, and when it comes to you, hit her again. And not that he was saying hit her again, but there are consequences for your actions, is the way I took it.
Yeah. Especially when it's known. Right. You Val, you can chime in. And it makes me think about the question, and you kind of pinned it a little bit, Lori. What do we think about so many people that are in church and they still hear the response even after knowing that there is abuse there? Just pray about it.
Right.
Just pray about it.
Right. And I believe that's because the lack of knowledge, the lack of that they don't know. Pastors don't know. Like, I've had opportunity to speak at a lot of churches, even some pastor conferences with just pastors, like a workshop or something. And they, I mean, I'm glad that they were honest, but they honestly was like, we have nothing in place. If someone does come and say, Pastor, I'm in an abusive relationship, we have no funds set aside for it. We don't know how to recognize it. And because we don't know how to recognize it, we definitely don't know how to respond to it.
Wow.
And so I think, the more the church doors will open for us to come in and to be able to bring that awareness and that knowledge, then they will be able to help that, instead of saying, pray about it. That man or that woman may be getting beaten every night or verbally abused.
Right.
But they come to church and they treat pastor good, they treat first lady good, but then your spouse is being abused. And so I just believe if they open the doors, we talk about everything else in church, but we don't talk about that. That's something that's not talked about. Yeah. And so I did tell the pastors I was glad that they did feel comfortable enough and were honest to say, hey, we don't have, what can we put in place?
Right.
Okay. You can have a resource. have resources there,
Mhm.
you know, and be able to say, we have this money set aside to put you up for a week or whatever it is we have to do. But they don't know because it's something that's not talked about. Just like it's taboo kind of everywhere, it's
Right.
really taboo in the church.
Wow. Wow. Um, Chana, you've recently been speaking in a lot of the church arenas and conventions on some very much needed topics, and much needed discussions that really should have been had years ago. Um, how has the church helped or failed as it relates to things of this nature when it comes down to domestic violence and some of these issues that I'm sure you know about firsthand?
Yeah, the church has not done a good job. And, you know, it's just not one church organization. There are studies after studies that show us that churches are just not equipped with knowledge and information. The problem with the church is we're trauma aware, but we're not trauma informed. And there
Mm,
is a huge difference.
wow.
What I like about the Creflo story is that there was safety, exposure, and because a bully will most bullies or people who are in domestic or IPV, intimate partner violent relationships, they keep doing what they're doing because there's no exposure. So Creflo literally called it out right on the spot,
Right.
but provided safety for the young wife or young lady to say you have a support system.
Right. Right.
That
Right.
is what the biggest fear of any abuser is, that that person finds support where they can no longer manipulate.
Wow.
So the church has to, he may not have had all the tools, but right on the spot, he acted. And that's what our response has to be. We cannot delay when we know something. We call it out. We expose it. Just like you expose demons and fornicators and drug addicts, expose all the sin, expose all the wrong.
Yes.
You know, you say that, but I was having a conversation earlier today, and it's like we pick and choose our poison. We pick and choose the things we want to explain.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah, I call them cafeteria Christians. Like
Right.
when you go to Piccadilly and you pick out what sin you want to engage in. We're not dealing with cafeteria Christians anymore.
Oh, cafeteria Christians. I love it. I love it. I love and we really do. We have to stop it. I've seen several preachers address it, but it's something that is just it is so common, and we just love to pick and choose what we want to talk about, and the things that we choose not to talk about, we just whatever.
Don't talk about them.
We excuse it.
I don't even have a problem with that because you're mentioning it for talking points and to get the crowd riled up.
Yes.
But what are you doing after?
Yes.
Because we can always say, we can always get big and bold behind the pulpit because the microphone is what people are attracted to these days.
Right.
But what programs and policies have you put in place to make sure that your parishioners are safe?
Right. This is good. Val, did you want to add something to that?
No, and I agree with Shauna. That's exactly. I was saying, but I was sitting here thinking like, why is it so easier for you to talk about fornicating, but not abuse?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like they don't talk about fornicating, like the whole, but abuse is like, is it abuse being physically abused worse than the fornicating? Because like Shauna said, they talk about it and they bring it across the pulpit but you have so many suffering, silently suffering in the church where it's supposed to be healing, where they're supposed to get truth and supposed to be able to, be led to being healed and being free. And yet you're keeping them in bondage because we're not exposing it. Like she said, it's just, hey, this is what it is. You wrong, you wrong. Just like they do with fornicating. If we doing it, we wrong, we wrong. They just put it out there, you know what I'm saying? And they just let you, you know, burn with the fire or whatever, you know. So,
What I found with that is, in my experience, the whether it's a male or a female pastor, whatever it may be, the leaders in the church, where they are also experiencing that same type of mental abuse, spiritual abuse, whatever it may be. It don't have to be physical,
right?
But by you calling it out and talking about it, you irritating their demons because they doing it too. And a lot of them don't want to talk about it because of those narcissistic characteristics that they're carrying. You stepping on their toes. So by you bringing it out and talking about it in the congregation, you got them feeling a little kind of funny in there because you're calling it out. It's not just physical abuse. That the emotional abuse and what I dealt with, spiritual abuse, you know, trying to keep people subjected and making them submit to basically foolishness, when really what it is control. So, you know, when you come in and you start talking about all these different things in an arena where the leadership has issues that they don't want to talk about, they're not going to let you talk about it in their congregations or in their dining rooms or at their conferences, because those are things they're not healed from yet. So I'm not going to talk about that sin. We're going to talk about these other sins that y'all got. We're not going to talk about mine. We're just going to talk about what y'all got.
You all are saying some really amazing things. And Lori, you pinned on something that I was getting ready to ask the panel. But the thing about it is you kind of talked about it a little bit, and that's healthy leadership, whether you're in home or even at the church. A lot of times we're not addressing sometimes the elephant in the room. Is our leader, our spiritual leaders, really healthy? And when I say that, I mean in the sense of even the things that we're spewing from our microphones in the pulpit, you know, where we yielded our or we give our power, or, you know, dictate our control in the space of. But what does that look like? What does healthy spiritual leadership look like from a home perspective, from a church perspective?
Well, as you know, I just did a workshop on emotional intelligence at a conference for leaders. And the one thing I pointed out was, you're not a leader if your absence feels like relief. If your absence,
say that again. You gotta say it. The people in the back didn't hear you.
You're not a leader if your absence feels like relief. The people are not longing for and need your decisive leadership and guidance. And self-awareness is not about how you view yourself. It's also about how others perceive you.
Right.
And the toll that your leadership style takes on and affects the people that you serve. So people have a problem, as I told Dante in a couple of podcasts ago, that they really have a problem facing themselves, and it makes them uncomfortable. So healthy leadership does not, you know, manipulate. It does not control. It does not use theological violence to maintain control. It actually looks within and serves from a heart of love. Like, not only what would Jesus do, but what did he represent? He truly was the epitome and walking example of strong, healthy emotional intelligence, raising perceptions while actually meeting people where in their grief and their pain and their sorrow. He met those needs first before he ever gave any directives. And then he elevated and raised their perception. So if you can't face yourself, it is impossible. Yeah. And I see it all the time. The older these leaders get, the worse they get. Yes. They get more, the manipulation tactics, all of it gets worse. And so it is hard to find true sound leadership everywhere. In America, on jobs with bosses, and it's definitely very difficult and challenging to find it in the church. So if your absence feels like relief, you're not a leader.
Wow.
And the other thing with a healthy leadership that I felt, because I've had, I would say, good leadership, and I've had not so good leadership. And in good leadership, when you have members that are active in your church, that are present, you ought to be able to recognize when they are hurting. And you ought to be not only spiritually in tune, but like you said, you should have enough emotional intelligence to know when something's off. So if I'm sitting in a congregation dying in plain sight, you should not be so, as we say, saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, that you cannot see my pain. Like, what God are you praying to that you can't see your people in pain? Right. And if you have a healthy leadership or a healthy leader who is in tune with who he is, in tune with who his people are, in tune with God, he should be able to, or she should be able to see that this particular member needs help. They need assistance. And if they don't have the assistance in-house, they ought to be able to connect them to resources. And that just goes back to what Val said earlier, is being able to get those resources for your people. But to allow your members to sit and die in plain sight, or you've got this mindset that you got to be in control, but you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing as a leader. So who are you leading? And like you said, who are you leading? If your people are dying in plain sight, who are you leading?
There has to be there. Yeah, I'm with you. There has to be an awareness somewhere where we're accountable for what's happening, what's not happening. There has to be. My grandmother used to talk about her spiritual eye, and I used to laugh when she said it. But now, as I've gotten older, it makes so much sense.
Yes.
Because there is no spiritual eye with some of these leaders. Because they're not in tune.
Yeah.
I was watching. Go ahead, Lori.
No, I was just replying to what Dante was saying. I've had pastors that have come up to me after church and say, "You're not yourself today." I appreciate that. Like,
just they see something.
Yeah, I prefer that than they'll call it, I believe Sister So-and-so going through something today, Yeah. I want you to come and see me after church, okay?
Oh my God. No. What is that? So what is that? No self-awareness. No self-awareness. You know what I mean? But just come to me after church and be like, you're just not yourself. Anything you want to talk about, or anything I could do to assist. Where has that gone? Like,
I was gonna say, I was watching a podcast the other day. I can't remember which one it was, but they were saying they believe that the single women in the church, I don't know if you all heard this or seen this podcast, and one young lady was saying she just feels like the church manipulates and abuse young single women because that's all that's in the church, and they keep telling them about your Boaz is coming and you're this and you're that, and it's like a manipulation, and it's just to keep them there and to keep telling them these things, and they're saving themselves and they're everything is for the church when it comes to the women. Like they were saying, like, the church really don't want you. They know ain't no boys coming into church. You're not going anywhere. You don't go out. Just go home. Only place you go is the church. So the young lady was just saying, like, she said, to me, it's just like manipulation. It's just like abuse. Like, you telling us something, right? You telling us something, but yet everything we do is with the church, and there's nobody. No, did you see that, Shauna?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but the thing is, you're selling people on hope. So I always say the streets sell dope and the church sells hope. So you got some smoking hopium. And so what happens is, I learned this in college real quick. We have a serious problem in our Black community. We train our girls, be independent, go to college, get your bachelor's, get your master's. Let me tell you something. Those white girls, when I was at Atlanta Christian College. They was engaged to youth pastors at 22, 23. Everybody that I was going to school with, those white girls was coming out of college with the biggest rocks. But we were teaching survival tactics for our Black women to be strong and independent and get your education and get this. And before you know it, you setting up 35 on clearance. Can't find nobody. And the church is telling you, Boaz is coming, go high. He'll come when he'll come. Gotta send them to you when you're ready. And that is so
he may not come when you want him.
35 on clearance.
Like, why are you doing this? But the white girls, their parents send them to college. You go to college and you be prepared to become a wife. And don't sit out here lingering, waiting to become all strong and independent and making your own money and living your best life. And before you know it, time is over.
And you 50.
And nobody never popped the question to you.
You don't ever go nowhere for nobody to meet no one.
You
go to church.
You wear black stockings with white shoes. You doing all the things to keep you
single. Right.
Because we ain't talking about the main things.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the things that need to be.
Manipulation. It's like manipulation. It really is. It's like they're grooming. It's kind of like grooming.
Yeah, they're grooming missionaries. They're in the church in the mother's corner, 35 and 40.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's cute and all. But now you mean because you don't have a sexual relationship, you mean because you're frustrated, you mean because you don't have intimacy and partnership, because at the end of the day, it is good that man not be alone. He made a helpmeet.
And we normalize dysfunction.
I'm sorry, Dante, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was disagreeing. I said we normalize dysfunction.
Yes.
We are normalizing dysfunction. We're still on topic, y'all. And those of you all that are joining us on YouTube and Facebook, please let us know if you have any questions and where you're watching from. But this is such a great conversation, and it's a much needed conversation because these things really do matter. And some of the things that we are talking about are things that really need to be addressed and talked about. Even not only at church, but starting at home, starting in our own home. Let me push the conversation because we have so much to cover. I want to kind of switch gears a little bit. When we talk about, normally when we talk about domestic violence, people think it's just about women. It's just about, women being abused. Why is it so difficult for people to believe that men can be victims too? Anybody?
Well, it's difficult because studies show us that 1 in 7 men are abused. 1 in 7. But less than 20% of those men ever report.
Right.
And it's the stigma where men no longer feel strong or in power if they report domestic violence.
Right.
And what usually happens, or domestic abuse, excuse me, what usually happens is it is wrapped in like guilt and emotional manipulation.
Right.
The woman will use her feminine energy to try to manipulate sexually, withholding sex, emasculating the man, making him feel less than, talking down on him. Control, keeping him away from friends and family. You don't need to be with your mama this weekend. You don't need to see blah, blah, blah. You don't need to be hanging out with so and so and so. And it's all to stay in control. Even we don't talk about this, even women who overspend and put their family in financial jeopardy.
Right.
That is a form of abuse.
It is.
So I feel that it's not talked about because, men, 1, don't report, and 2, it is a very real thing. But the way and the tactics that some women use keep him from feeling strong enough to want to use his voice.
Right.
Wow.
And then also with women, because women can be very conniving and manipulating and do it in a way that the family doesn't even recognize it.
Right.
Women can be some of the worst narcissists and do it in a way that, again, family doesn't recognize it, and so it makes the man feel like he's crazy, and she can make him feel like he's crazy, gaslighting. I didn't say that way. I didn't do this, and then, like you said, they make them feel less than a man. So for me, I think what I've witnessed with men that I've dealt with with victory over violence is not necessarily her putting her hands on him, but the emotional and the mental and the verbal. And for me, the emotional, mental, and verbal lasts a whole lot longer than a bruise. So those type things where it makes it where it's harder for them to leave because I've got to take care of my family.
Right.
This is my family. I got to take care of my family. What are people going to say if I walk out on her? What are people going to say? They're never going to believe me. So they don't report it. I know men that have had things thrown at them. I know men that have been spit on by their wives. I know men that have had knives in their face. I know men that women have literally slapped and beat them and they would not hit them back. Right. But who's going to believe that?
Right.
And it's not even just so much in a marriage or with a spouse. I look at, I try to teach my young men that if a girl is like, if you leave me, I'm going to commit suicide. I'm going to kill myself. You hear that often, or, plotting pregnancies, and all of those things are manipulation tactics to keep him to stay and keep him in her control.
Right.
And if you let it go by one time, best believe it's going to happen over and over and over again. It's just going to be magnified the longer you stay.
Yes. Wow. And I'm glad you said that, Shauna, because in Love Smart, that's what we do. We do teen dating. Well, our main focus is teens. And I go to the schools, to our local base high schools every year. And it's just amazing how many boys will come up after. And a lot of them have not dated before. This is their first girlfriend, and they've gotten an aggressive young lady who takes on that masculinity and, like you say, the gaslighting, the pregnancies, or withholding sex. I'm talking about 15, 16-year-olds.
Wow.
And they just normalize it. And so some of them, we were able to sit down with some of the boys, and a lot of them was like, this is my first girlfriend. I can't speak to anybody else on campus. Or she gets mad with me. She walks away. She does this. Like he couldn't please. Nothing he did was right. And so you could just see the tables just turning. And it's not just turning like the boys are abusive to girls. I'm just saying literally just turning. It's just a cycle. Right. It doesn't matter what gender it is. It's just now a continual cycle. So, and the thing I also found out, parents have no clue. They have no clue who their children are dating. They don't even know if they are dating. That's the thing. They don't even know. One young lady said from the minute she gets to school at 8 a.m. to 3:30, she is being controlled on campus. Who she can't talk to, who she can't speak to, checking the phone, and that the location thing. Oh my gosh! You think adults are? It is. I'm like, who are you tracking and keeping location at 15?
At 15.
At 15. So, I always think, how do we solve, put an end to domestic violence when the ages are now? I had an 11-year-old 2 years ago. 11. She was 11. Wow. She doesn't have a baby now, but she was 11 in an abusive relationship.
Yeah. I think this is so powerful. And for those of you all that are listening, thank you for joining us. Like and share this post. We are really this is such a critical thing. One of the things and I'm so glad you all brought this up because one of the things I was privy to speak and I work with foster kids for a while, and in the foster system, let me tell you something. Anybody that does any type of social work,
yeah,
you have to be strong.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. You really have to be strong to really, really make it in that world and to survive in that world if that's what you want to do. But I saw some things firsthand, and I was able to talk. One of the things I did was I taught the parents according to the curriculum based on what the state mandates for the parents to have as it relates to awareness that they have to do monthly. And we started talking about what it looked like. Let's just say, we're most of us are, 70s, 80s kids, right? Growing up, we didn't have social media. We didn't have DMs. We went outside, right? And it was different. The dynamics were different. A lot of the foster care parents are older. The age gap for the foster parent and that child was massive. So a lot of them did not know what social media was. So I started to talk about it. And what was amazing, and I think Val, you made the point, and Lori as well, they don't even know. They don't know where the kids are. And the true story, I had a young lady who literally was DMing someone and trying to get the person to meet. Very calculated. This 14-year-old girl who looked like she was 18 or 21, very mature, but she's going back and forth with the guy that she does not know, who's pretending to be somebody he's not, and doing this, repeatedly, perpetually, and until they were such in conversation, she's calculated when mom's going to be gone and grandma's going to be gone out the house, I could sneak out the basement and we can run for the border. Well, it happened. He drugged her. And when she came to, she just happened to be by herself in a hotel room in metropolitan Atlanta. If I call street names, y'all would probably know. But my point is that at some point she called and got the foster mom back involved and started talking to. But my point is that they didn't know that she was even doing or going through the DMs. She didn't even know to look in her DMs. She didn't know she was talking with this person every single day, out minute after minute, hour after hour. There has to be accountability, and that's why I'm so glad that we're having this conversation, because awareness is key. Right? When we're informed, when we come to the knowledge of, okay, now it's on us. Well, I didn't know. I'm ignorant. I didn't know. Now that I do know, so I think it's that thing. And when I started talking to them, I remember even talking to a middle school, and this was maybe via 2014, 2013, and Snapchat was really popular. I remember talking, and I had about 70 parents in a cafeteria. I'm doing a social media awareness with the parents. No kids present. There was some kids there. And when I surveyed the room and asked them, what do you know what Snapchat is? Maybe 3 hands went up. Three. And I said to myself, we are so unaware. We are so disconnected. AI right now is the thing. Everything is AI. Whether we like it or not, we get fired. I get tired calling AT&T when I'm having issues. I'm talking to AI because this is where we are.
Right.
And the church, we can talk about the school. We can talk about any entity. If we're not connected to where we are in times, we're going to be lost. And I think as parents and even as leaders, we have to stay on top of what's happening.
Right.
We lose our kids.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And if you don't have the answer, like you said, AI is out there. There is so many ways to get the answer. So for me to hear a leader in the community or a leader in church say, we don't have, or we don't have access, I challenge that, because if you don't have it, someone else does.
That's right.
So that requires you to care enough about your people to connect them to resources. It's not necessarily that if the church doesn't have a budget, or the local community center doesn't have the budget, okay, you don't have the budget, but there are nonprofits that offer free classes, free resources, free counseling. There are free groups out there that can offer resources to people who are suffering trauma around you.
That's right.
So to pretend like, well, I didn't know, or we'll find out.
I don't think it's a topic that they even think about. I don't think they go to church and think about, oh, let's get some resources on domestic violence. I just don't think domestic violence is something that just comes across the pulpit. Like it just, so why? I mean, for them to say we don't, I didn't know, I don't have any resources. I don't even think you're thinking about domestic violence, right, Shauna? I mean,
so the thing about that is, I'm sick of people using. We call it weaponized incompetence.
Mhm.
So you're literally using your incompetence as a weapon to say, I don't know this, and this was out of my control. And when Dante was talking about all the technological advances in AI, I encourage all churches, get your young people involved to teach you. You got a whole group of young people that will sit on iPads and their phones during service. You need to be having training classes where they're educating and teaching you on what is going on in that field and in that world. So this weaponized incompetence thing, we didn't know, this didn't come to us. I am appalled, and I am absolutely astonished by how many leaders and church people share misinformation on Facebook.
Yes.
And I'm like, you didn't really? Something that obvious? You really shared that? Like,
yes.
What?
Yes.
What? You know,
and
help. But you got to have common sense to say, and I know common sense is common, but you need to really get your young people involved to teach you some stuff, because these young people are way ahead.
Yes.
And you'll be left behind and struggling, while they're getting involved in everything.
And we have to get off of this. I remember when TVs, color TVs, flat screens. Oh, that's the mark of the beast. Computers. Oh, that's the mark of the beast. Oh, we keep advancing. Everything's the mark of the beast.
But it's so funny because I tell church people all the time, when that chip comes, y'all gonna be like this. Because you're not going to be able to eat, you're not going to be able to get money, and I don't trust y'all enough to really hold the line and say, I'm not going to take that. Y'all going to be just like this, because you're already doing it with your phones. If your phone opens up, you're already there. So stop quoting this stuff and saying things to make you sound good when you know you ain't even that grounded.
No. And we're losing a generation because we're so behind.
Yes.
And I would even challenge pastors, leaders, community leaders. Use your empty spaces. Upgrade your technology. I'm gonna say it. If you go to a church and they don't have Wi-Fi, you're in the wrong church. You honestly cannot even survive without it. Without that service, you can do without phone service before you can do before I would do without Wi-Fi. I can make a call with Wi-Fi. I think we're missing, and you guys are so right, but we're missing it because we're not jumping on things when we see it, and our young people they're capitalizing.
Oh yeah.
They're capitalized, and they know more than what you think because everything is available right at their fingertips. All they have to do is Google it. AI, go to chat. They just type it, and it'll come up. And we're losing because we're not connected.
Right.
We have to bridge the gap.
Yeah.
We have to bridge the gap. We've been saying this for years, but we have to.
Yeah. And the fact that they're not allowing certain topics to be discussed in certain spaces, again, you're disconnected from what's really going on. And it's not even, well, it is a disconnect because, like you said, that self-awareness is not there. But at the same time, you're losing people.
Yeah.
You are losing people.
Yeah.
And if they can go somewhere else and get what they need somewhere else, because churches come on every corner now, or you could just go online. So why go and feel disconnected for an hour and a half, 2 hours sitting in someone's church who can't even relate to what you're dealing with, when I can either go online or go to the church down the street that's got Wi-Fi and also has ministries for single women, divorced women, single men, men's ministry, women's ministry, children's ministry, youth ministry.
Yeah.
I think I'll take that.
Yeah.
So there's options. There are options. And, the way we grew up, I'm talking about Dante and China, the way we grew up, we didn't have options.
No.
There were no options.
Options was a bad word.
Right. That was a bad word. There was only one church, period.
Yeah.
So there's options now. And what I would like to see is for leaders, whether they're a church leader or a community leader, to be open to the fact that there are resources available. You can teach other things from the pulpit. Right. You can teach other things in your classrooms, in your community centers, in your dining rooms. You can allow people like us to come in and share information and resources with your people. You want your people to be whole, mind, body, and soul. And how are you going to do that if the only thing you preaching from, the word is needed. Yeah, you need the Bible, but you also need to be able to stay safe.
But sometimes I feel like they're the ones that want to do it. Like where I'm here at home, everybody knows domestic violence. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to put flyers out. I'm going to ask if I'll do some free Bible studies, whatever. Nothing. Nothing. From no church, from I'll even talk sometimes to some pastors. I'll come in and do a workshop. I'll just come in and do a little seminar, just give you the basics, how to recognize and how to respond. Nothing. No invitation. I've been doing this for over 20 years. Yeah. Nothing. And they can know this is what you do. And sometimes I feel like, because you want to be the one doing it, or you go get somebody and pay them $50,000 to come in and do it. I'm just saying. But when you have the person that's home, home that can connect, and I'm already connecting with the community. I'm connected to the community, but it's just like that. When it comes to domestic violence, it's just like it's just a cloud. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to bring it in unless we are saying it over the pulpit. Unless we're saying it, we're the ones that's giving the information, because we're the ones that's making them feel whole, and making them feel better about their situation. We're the ones doing it, but like trying to say, but we're saying we're spewing the wrong things out. We don't know what we're talking about.
Right.
No. Well, you have to start charging for your services.
Yes, and I do.
Let me tell you something.
I do.
When people pay, they pay attention. When you pay attention.
That's right.
You get no attention. And so you have to listen. You have to have radical faith in your pricing.
Yeah,
So
and I
if
do,
this
and I
is
do.
going to cost you 10,000.
Yeah.
We are in a time where the church is addicted to revelation. They
Uh-oh.
want revelation, 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 and no application. They,
Mm.
they want revelation. And this is why conferences, you see it all. Look how many conferences are out here. And they're repeating the same information to people over and over
Same.
and just restyling it a different way every time. And some of them aren't even restyling it.
Right.
Mhm.
But why do they do it? Because they know they're selling hope and people just want attention and revelation. They do not apply the information.
The
And the
information.
church is rude and disrespectful to pay copious amounts of money to all of these high-end speakers where you're actually giving tools for people to use and they're just giving motivational dressed
Yes.
up messages
Yes.
that are going to
Yes.
make people want to come back.
Yes.
Yeah.
False.
We just had that conversation. And the thing about it is, like Val said, I mean, I've been doing this since 2017. I can count on one hand, and you know how many pastors and preachers I know. I can count on one hand. One of them is my pastor, my mother, and my best friend's pastor, my best friend's husband. 3 that have asked me to come to their church or allow me to speak at their church or allow me to do an event at their church or with their people. 3 out of all the ministers, pastors, leaders that I know. 3. 3. It's they don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear it. You cannot tell me they want to hear it. They don't want to hear it because if you come in and you telling their people how to empower them, you're going to empower them?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
we can't have that. We can't have that. No.
Gone are those days. And while we're on the topic of money and donating, y'all see the ticker at the bottom. This platform is not free. There's a lot that goes into what we're doing and that we're providing that you see right now live. We need your support. And even when we come to your churches, yes, everyone loves it, but I'm with Chana. And the more you charge them, the more they pay attention. Because what happens is what we've just become lackadaisical with the things that we want to buy. It's like the kid in the candy store. You know, everything ain't good for you, but you'll buy it. You'll pay the money for it. It makes you sick to your stomach. But here, keep giving them the candy. And when you don't give them substance, we wonder why 20 years down the road, they're unhealthy. They lack no emotional intelligence. They don't eat right. There's so many different things, and we go back to these kind of conversations that we have to really take. We have to take our not only the ministry but our lives seriously. And what's amazing to me is that I've seen it happen, but when it hits that person's home, that leader's home, the home, it changes everything. Why wait till something that drastic happens that we change?
Yep.
Be proactive, not reactive.
When it hits home, it's different.
It's different.
It's different. When their daughter or their son dealing with something like this, it's different. They know how to find you. What, Val? What? They'll text you, call you. Hey, can you find a shelter? Can you help them find a hotel? Can you? Oh.
And it doesn't have to be that way.
No,
It does not have to be that way.
It doesn't. It doesn't. If you know what to look for, you know the signs. You know, if you know and you have the knowledge, then it does not have to. Then you know to pull your child aside or pull whoever aside and say, "Hey, you know what's going on with you? I see this, I see that," so they can know that they've been seen without them even saying something, because you know what to look for. You have the knowledge. You're aware now, so you know. But when we don't know, and that's why I get so upset sometimes because it's just becoming so normalized till it is just normal. It's normal. And then you turn on the TV and you hear a deputy sheriff done got killed. A lady like every day last week, it was some Black woman that was killed in a domestic violence. Every day, from Florida to Forsyth County to Gwinnett County the other day. I mean, it's just like it's just every day, and people, they didn't get along, they argued, like those are signs.
Right.
No, it's normalized now, and it's not normal. It's not normal, and I think it goes back to something Chana said earlier about being trauma informed. And when you're not trauma informed, you don't even know how to react. Just saying, well, that's how they are. They've been like that for a long time. That's not okay, because now their children think that's normal. Okay. So now you got dysfunctional kids going to school trying to control their boyfriend or their girlfriend because that's what they see at home. And instead of having a conversation, they lash out. They want to fight. Those are not good patterns. And
I'm glad you said that. I'm kind of glad you said that. And we're going down this route. I want to ask this question. Do you think that societal expectations or societal things that are happening push men and women to an emotional point of violence?
It's been normalized.
Okay. You see it on social media. I mean, I've even seen some women get on there and put their pictures of their bruises and stuff. And like one lady, she had her luggage and she was in the airport bathroom and talking about don't ever stay with somebody. And I'm like, why are you like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you black and blue? But then you show another one later, you black and blue again. So evidently you didn't leave from the airport like you was pretending. But it just so normalized, like it's just nothing. I just say when people can get on there and video it, then it's normalized. It's like it's nothing. It doesn't matter.
Even with the climate that we're in, the divisive climate that we're in.
Yes.
People get up and say things hateful, evil, mean, racist, whatever it may be. And it's okay as long as you're on this side of the fence or you're on that side of the fence. You can talk about each other and then lash out each other. And then you can walk around with your guns and you can walk around and do this and open carry in Florida. You can do all these different things and it's okay. Right. And it's really not okay. That's not healthy and it's not normal, but it starts at the top.
But to Dante's point to the societal changes, I think he's like referencing like the economy,
right?
Things, job loss,
right?
Coming home stress,
right?
Grocery bills, gas bills. For Americans, the average American and the black man is always. I'm not doing the keep the black man down thing, but the black men have to fight daily for their liberties, their rights, to be seen, to be accepted, to be respected. And if you have all of that, no, there's no reason for you to abuse someone. Right. It's no reason for it. At the same time, you're in a place where stress, lack of family support, lack of church support. This is why Black men are not running to the church because there's no supports there for them. Can someone lead me to get into a good career? Does your church offer trades? Everybody's been sharing that Home Depot is offering free education and trades. Has anyone from your church contacted Home Depot to get those people in your church registered, signed up? So it has to be a system where men feel supported. Yes. And again, I will never condone violence of any sort, emotional or anything. Right. At the same time, I'm not going to neglect to see where their level of stress. And if it's not abuse, it may be alcohol abuse. It may be drug abuse. It may be womanizing. Whatever the case may be, we have to take into account these challenges in our community that keep us all down.
Yes.
Overall.
Yes, that's good.
That is good. And this is good. I think this is something that we really need to just really take and for those that are watching, thank you all for joining. Like and share this post. this is needed within our community. Men are quiet. You know, dealing with the mentoring program, one of the hardest things for us to do is find men to mentor other young men.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk. I'll say it again. We don't talk, and we don't talk enough. And it's something that I want to see change. I'm working to change it because that paradigm needs to shift, because we are needed. We're needed in our homes. You know, we're needed in our community. We're needed in our churches. But if we don't change that paradigm, if we don't change, we're foundation. You know, I was watching the video today, and I agree with everything this lady was saying until she said, "Yeah, he's the head." And I was okay with her saying it because I understood it.
Yeah,
we're foundational. Men are foundational when it comes down to the home, right? And the last time I checked, I don't care how good your mirrors are, how the windows look, if you got a new roof, if you got fine china, if you got new furniture, if you just decked out, you got a bowling alley in your home. If your foundation is cracked, the whole house is condemned.
Yep.
Nobody wants to talk about that.
No.
You can't. I don't care where you are, anywhere, United States of America or the world. You find any house that the foundation is cracked, the whole house is condemned. Why don't we look at our families that way?
Right.
Like our men being absent is like the house being condemned.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on my soapbox.
Preach, preacher.
No, that's right. It has to come. To be honest, it has to come from Black men. That type of messaging, those words need to be amplified.
Yes.
By Black men.
Yep.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
Some of the strongest churches I've seen is churches that have a strong men's ministry. Yep. And it's very few. I can count on one hand. Very few that I know have a strong men's ministry. They are doing things together. They have group activities together. They do Bible studies together. They do projects together. There's a reason.
Yeah.
That's needed. It's needed. And they have young boys in the church looking at these men serving each other.
Yeah.
It's not enough of that.
It's not.
It's just not enough of that.
It's not. And I'm grateful for these three beautiful Black women who are on this platform today talking about the things that we really need to address, not only in our churches, but starting in our homes. You know, that's where it really starts. You know, we really have to take heed to these issues. I want to shift just a little bit and talk a little bit about abuse and the awareness of what's happening. What are some of the signs? Because somebody listening right now is going through something. And I know they're going through it because they're still watching us. They're listening to us. They're hinging on every word that is actually being said. I'm gonna put that ticker back on the bottom because they're contemplating even calling that number. But what are the signs that someone is masking abuse behind their humor and their charisma or their leadership position?
Okay, well, Go ahead. I want to say this before we get into that because I just want to tell a little bit of my testimony because mine is different. Please. Mine is not the normal abuse that's happened every day on a set, just ongoing. I didn't have that. I didn't experience that. I didn't experience, there was no signs. I was married 8.5 years. My husband was not abusive, was not verbally abusive. Wasn't emotional abusive, didn't call me out my name, didn't have me on the emotional roller coaster. He didn't do any of those things. But like we just said earlier, men don't talk. Men don't really express what's going on. They hold it in. And I still don't know to this day what it was. I was called home and 20 minutes later, I was shot with a .38 Smith & Wesson. I was shot through the head. And it went in here, came through, and came out over here. And I was shot twice in my right arm, and one bullet went through my collarbone and then came out the back of my neck. Thank God. Glory be to God. Yes. I had no surgery, no stitches, anything. I was shot with a .38 Smith & Wesson. And so I stayed in the hospital 3 days, and just for observations, no stitches, no bones cracked, nothing. And when I got out, I saw the newspaper and it said domestic violence, right? And I was just like, no, that's not no domestic violence. He wasn't beating me, because back then that's what I thought domestic violence was.
Right.
And so I knew, I just couldn't understand why they would, label me as a victim of domestic violence. And it really bothered me. It really bothered me. They gave me a domestic violence advocate. And so thank God for Miss Bobby. She literally sat down and explained things to me, because I was really fighting that label,
Right.
victim of domestic violence. And she told me, I said, he's never hit me before. We never fought. We never. And she said, sweetheart, one time is one time too many.
Wow.
She said, you could have died. You could have died. It is abuse. That's
right.
abuse. And so even after that happened, and I was trying to get my life back together, because I may not have been battered and beaten every day, but let me tell you, when I lost my house, it was just like, I just didn't go to a shelter. Let me say that. But emotionally, psychologically, y'all, that thing rocked my world. It rocked my world. I mean, I end up on food stamps, Section 8, couldn't use my arm for a year and a half, couldn't write my name. It was just like, and I was just like, how do women go through this? How do they go through this abuse every day? And so I had to really come to grips with accepting that I was one time a victim of domestic violence.
Right.
A victim of domestic violence. That means something happened. It happened. And so I started researching, learning myself. What is this? What is this thing that we call domestic violence, that we think that it has to be ongoing? It has to be ongoing. What did you see? And that's, and when I go and speak and share, people always say, well, was he abusive? You missed something. You must have missed something. No. When I learned what domestic violence was and abuse was, I'm telling you, I asked myself, did I miss something? Did I miss something?
Right.
He wasn't. We didn't. The things that we say are signs. They weren't there. But he called me home. He made up in his mind, whatever was going on with him, that I'm going to call her home. He ended up shooting me and then shot himself in the head. Because and still to this day, I still want, like, wow, but then I said, I don't need an answer. God saved me. He made death behave for me.
Right.
And so that made me an overcomer. And that's why I don't tell people, I said, don't call me a survivor. I'm an overcomer, because I live beyond that. And I try to use it to help others. But that's what I wanted to say, because sometimes we'll take, it has to be this. If it happens one time, I'm not going to call that domestic violence.
Right.
And I get that a lot. Oh, he just hit me one time. Oh, she just slapped me one. I'm like, that's abuse.
Right.
That's abuse.
Right.
So I just wanted to kind of share that, because a lot of times
I'm so glad. I love when you share your testimony and you share your experience, because people see you, and even when they meet you in person, and to give that story, you would not believe it. I remember hearing Val's testimony for the first time, and I was just like in tears, like, no way. And this woman up here talking and just as animated as I am, like, oh no.
Yes, I am.
Love it.
I am. But yes,
your story is so captivating. But it's such a great example.
Yeah, and everybody don't get that ending. You know what I mean? Everybody doesn't get that. Right. A lot of people, you have one time, you out of here. So yes, I thank God. I thank God for it. But I just wanted to say that, because I hear it so much. It only happened one time. No, okay. Yeah. This is a one time. I have 6 bullet holes in this body to show you one time.
Yeah. And what I like about Val's story is she could have become bitter for this situation, but it literally made her better and made her reach within to try to help others.
Yes.
So to Dante's question, to me, the first sign after what Val was saying to me, well, one of the signs is when women or men reason with the abuse. If you begin to reason with, I've been abused because, or he was just upset, or he was drinking, or he had a bad day, or it only happened one time. When you begin to reason with that, you're going to find yourself in that situation again and again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I know just from personal experience, one of the things that is a sign that someone is being abused is usually withdrawal. So for me, I didn't necessarily, if we had just gotten in a fight and I had bruises, I would go to church anyway because I wouldn't want anybody to know anything. So I would go to church, but I would wear certain things that would hide bruises on my chest, bruises on my arm. Didn't really want nobody to hug me, that kind of stuff. I was withdrawn, which is just not my personality. I love hugs. I love people. So withdrawn. Also, usually the person that is the abuser usually does not want you around your family. They want you isolated because they want that control. So I didn't visit. I didn't come home. I was living in Panama City. I didn't come home to visit. Very seldom did I come home to visit. And it wasn't so much that he was like, no, you're not going home, as much as it was, I did not want to explain what was going on.
Right.
So that isolation type thing, mood changes. I mean, you can only pretend for so long. And being in church, I was a church leader at that church. So you know how to put on the face and you know how to put on the show. You know how to have church. I grew up in church. I know how to have church. I know how to do all the things.
Right.
So you put on the show, you put on the face. Another thing was not wanting to go home. So we could have 3 services. I was going to be at all 3. I didn't want to go home.
Wow.
So that was my hiding space, going home with other people from church, just to keep from going home. So for me, if I had which God has blessed me to be able to sense that type of energy from other women who are being abused, who are suffering from abuse and not saying anything, a lot of times I can pick up on it and I'm able to speak with them. And if it's someone that I'm supposed to connect with, he's opened that door where I'm able to connect with these women and have that conversation. Men too. I've come across men who felt comfortable enough to open up to me about that. And I just feel like it's a gift that God has given me to be able to pick up on that. But there are certain signs, if you are aware and have that knowledge, or you've been taught how to recognize the signs. There are signs. There are signs that someone is being abused. And if you pay attention and know what those signs are, you can pick up on it, whether it's a young person or it's someone that's married and being abused. There are certain things that if you're aware and want to be aware, you'll pick up on it.
Wow. This is good. And for those of you all that are listening and joining in, I really hope that you all are gleaning from this wisdom and the insight that has been given on today. I have a plethora of questions that we can just roll down. I'm not going to keep us longer, but I really want to end on this. And I'm going to talk about, because it's hard to talk about all the great things we talk about and then not end with a place of healing and accountability. Right. So one of the things is one of the questions I want to ask is 1 or 2 questions. So here's the first question. What does forgiveness actually look like? Right. Watch this, though, when safety still matters. What does forgiveness really look like when safety still matters? You know, you want to forgive the perpetrator, but then you want to be safe, too. You know, I don't want to put myself in harm's way, and some people, they don't know what to do. They don't know. Go ahead.
I can say for me, my perpetrator never apologized. He still justified what he did. He was supposed to be a minister, preacher, man of God, whatever you want to call him. That's not what I called him. But 2 years and 8 days was enough for me. And I had to, many years later, forgive him without an apology to set myself free.
Wow.
And what that looks like is, when it comes to safety, never having contact with him ever again, never stepping foot in the city he lived in. I got a permanent lifetime injunction against him and never went back.
Wow.
So the safety came first for me, then forgiveness. And I had to forgive him and myself and be free.
That's good. That's good. And no plug or pun intended, but you all need to get Lori's book free. that was a great segue into that. Y'all go to Amazon.com. Y'all go to her website. It's a very good read, and I think it's something that will really, really spark your interest, because these kind of stories and these methods in which we go about doing things is really, really important on our healing and accountability process as we process through these things. How can we teach young people? And I'll pose this to Val and even China. How do we teach our young people what healthy attachment really looks like early on? Val, you deal with kids. You deal with and I do too. I see these kids on the middle school level and the stuff that they're into now.
Yeah,
we could write a book, Val.
Yes, we could. One thing I always say that I have picked up on is that when I do give a seminar and I just give them the straight facts, this is unhealthy, this is unhealthy, this is unhealthy, these are characteristics of a healthy relationship, that they really want to know. They don't know. They don't have a clue what they're doing. And that's what I tell them. I say, y'all just go together. She cute, I'm cute. You just go together. You don't know nothing. You don't know the responsibility of that or what comes with it. And what I've learned is they really want to know. They will ask me questions, or they'll say, I didn't know that was abuse. You know, they don't know. If we give them the knowledge, I think that's when they'll do things different. I've had them come back to me. I've had them go on Instagram, thank you, because now I know that this is abuse. I felt that it wasn't, didn't make me feel good. I felt this or I felt that, but I did not know it had a name. I did not know. And I can say something like, this is toxic. This is unhealthy. They don't know because everybody else around them has normalized it. And sometimes they'll fight back with me, but so-and-so doing it. So I'm like, but it's still not healthy. That's dysfunction, or that's a cycle you're starting. But I think just the more that we talk with them and teach them and be real with them and have that connection with them, they're more than willing to listen. And I think that way we can make a bigger impact. When they know you really care, because some of them I've even had to say, you have got to tell your mom, you have got to tell your parents, you have got to talk to your parents. You do not have to be in this alone, because they feel like they're alone, like we don't understand them. And so, that's what I see, that they want to know. They want to know, but nobody takes the time to talk to them. We don't talk to them at dinner. We don't talk to them in the car. We don't talk to them when we pick them up from practice. We just don't talk to them. And so I tell parents, we call it tap in, tap out in Love Smart. And I say, tap in, tap out. When you pick them up tap in, ask a question, but don't judge them and don't, girl, that's stupid. Just listen and then give them your opinion of what you would do. And then the next time, tap in again.
Truth be told, Val, adults need to hear this.
Yes. Yes. If not, we're going to keep repeating the same. We're going to keep repeating the cycle.
That's right.
And we have to model vulnerability, model what true emotions look like. Children don't understand all of the emotions that they're feeling. They don't know how to identify them. Right. We see it all the time in grief when someone dies.
Yes.
Oh, mommy or grandpa went to heaven. You just leave it like that. And at a young age, a kid will think, well, God took my parent away from me. Like he's with God or she's with God. You don't want them to have a negative thought process on what relationship with God looks like. God takes my loved ones away. And so modeling vulnerability, telling them the truth, I know our culture has this secret society with young kids, stay in the child's place. You don't need to know this. You don't need to know that. And these children are left out here discovering things by themselves and not knowing how to cope or identify what they're feeling in it. Or you're too, like, I hate when you were younger and people would be like, oh, you too fast, you too grown, you too this. Like, and you need to, if a little girl is too fast, something around her is going on. But you're just labeling her and condemning her instead of identifying what those emotions and what she's feeling or what she may have experienced. Right. So we have to be more truthful and honest and let young people see us cry. I don't like the quote, oh, children are more resilient than you think they are. Right. No, what makes them resilient is what they go through and how they process their emotions. You don't just become resilient through trauma. And that's not how that works. Right. So we have to have these honest conversations, model vulnerability. As Val was saying, have these strong talks with your children. Don't ask them, how was your day good? Don't ask them yes or no questions. Ask them open-ended questions. What was the worst part of your day? What was the best part of your day? What are you feeling right now today? Don't ask people, how are you feeling? Because they're going to lie and they're going to just make up something. Oh, I'm feeling fine. Say, how are you feeling right now in this moment? What are you feeling right now in this moment? All those things will help open up conversations that need to be had, but that are sometimes very uncomfortable. But this is how you teach children to manage their emotions and to be vulnerable.
Wow. This is great. We could do this probably for another 2-3 hours because we have so much, that we love to share. But I'm grateful for these three beautiful women, Black women, who are on this platform, really, really giving of themselves and talking about Domestic Violence Awareness Month of October. And this has been such a great conversation. Hate to end it, but I want to first thank you all for agreeing to do this. This is how many years, Lori, Val, have we been doing this?
I would say 20.
I gotta go back.
4.
I would say 2021 because it was during COVID.
Yep. So
yeah.
So 3-4 years, literally. Like, this is something that I just really believe that this is we need to be more aware of the things that we talked about on today, and we really have barely scratched the surface.
Yeah.
So I'm going to again thank everyone for joining us on today. Chana, if they are looking for you and wanting to buy your book, where would they get information about Chana Nelson on today?
Well, you can contact me. I'm not plastered all over social media because I do have a very busy schedule as it is, but you can always email me at Chana, CHANA 1129@gmail.com. I have a children's book on affirming yourself, and it's on Amazon. It's Affirming Me from A to Z. And it is about our Black children doing all type of different things, playing chess, horseback riding, climbing mountains, playing steel guitars, and it's all in watercolor. So you want to get that for your children as well. And I do public speaking. I am about to take on a new project in Ghana. And I am also connected in Tokyo with the school and institution over there. So opportunities are everywhere, but if you need me, I am always here for the people. So contact me via email.
Thank you, Chana. Thank you,
Awesome.
Chana. Yeah. I know, right? Come on.
Ghana, here we come.
Val with Love Smart Inc. Just a prolific author and definitely working with children. Val, where can they find you? And tell us about what you got going on right now.
All right. Okay. I just finished my second children's book.
Wow.
And it's called Uniquely Me. And it is just a book for little African-American princes. And it just shows a young lady in all these different hairstyles she wears, but knowing that she is uniquely and authentically being herself. And so that's the second children's book. But I have about 16 books. My first book, God's Divine Intervention, is the book that I was talking about, my testimony, my personal testimony. And I have some other books. You can find me on Facebook, Valerie Williams, and also Facebook at V Speaks. And also on Instagram, Love Smart Inc. Love Smart Inc. That's all one word, Love Smart Inc. Or you can email me at vspeaks223@gmail.com. That's vspeaks223@gmail.com. And we're headed back to Jamaica, and Lori is going with me this time. On November the 23rd, we'll be going back to the schools to do our Love Smart tour. And so we're glad to be doing that. And then probably headed back to Turks and Caicos. And then I'm praying. I just talked to a young lady the other day who goes to Ghana. She goes to the schools in Ghana because that's my heart's desire. That is one of my heart's desire. So yeah, so we've been busy, keeping busy and doing what we love, and just want us to be healthy. Want us to get back to having healthy love. So amazing,
Val. Lori.
Yes.
Violence.
Yes.
What you got going on? Where can they find you?
Okay, Victory Over Violence. We have a website, victoryoverviolencefl.com, all one word, victoryoverviolencefl.com. And we are on Facebook, same thing, Victory Over Violence of Florida, and on Instagram. You can also email at, what is it? VOVfoundationFL@gmail.com is the email address. But it's easier just to go on Facebook, Instagram, or go to the website, find out what we got going on. Right now, we are gearing up for the next annual summit. So if you enjoy this information, want more information, want resources, want a beautiful view of Apollo Beach here in Florida, we are having our summit, which is February 7th, 2026, from 9 to 2 p.m. We will have amazing workshops, awesome vendors, and a panel. So if you like this information and you want to join us, please go to the website or go to the Facebook, and tickets are on sale right now for the 2026 annual summit. As Dante mentioned earlier, I have a book called Free. Free is on Amazon, as well as on Kindle if you prefer e-read. So you can find me there.
Amazing.
Yes. And I will be in Jamaica with Love Smart Tour. Look forward to going back to Nassau and Turks next year.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you all. This has been an amazing podcast, and I always love to be a part of what's happening with Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the month of October. And thank you all. Thank you, ladies, for just bringing a wealth of information, wisdom, insight, and just being who you are and what you're called to be. Stephanie, Janine, thank you for joining us and being a part of.
Thank you for hosting.
Yes.
Oh, Stephanie.
Yes.
That's who I'm going to Ghana with.
Okay, there we go. Thank you, Stephanie, for joining us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
So
thank you, Dante. Thank you, Dante, for hosting us every year.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We appreciate who you are and all that you do.
Thank you.
Yes. If you all want to hear Dante speak, since he's so modest on his own platform, he will be one of the presenters at the summit in February.
Yes.
Every time.
Definitely. Yeah, they put me on last. I don't know why, but no.
He wraps it up.
We have fun.
Wraps it up.
We have fun, and I love to impart and just give of myself. And it's beautiful when you can just change lives and just do that being yourself.
Yes.
That's the best part.
Yes.
That's the best part. We're just showing up the best version of ourselves. So thank you all. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for everyone that has joined us on today. Again, if you like and follow us, we'll make sure if you have questions, And if you are in an unsafe situation, that ticker is down there for a reason. Definitely call that number. That's the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 or 1-800-799-SAFE. All right. Thank y'all.
Right.
I'm going to
Shauna,
sign
you be
off.
safe out there, girl.
Safe travels, Shauna.
Yeah.